All right, welcome, Facebook family and YouTubers. Um, I'm I'm going to keep my word, and I'm here to do a part two from my Sunday's lecture entitled "Gun Violence: The American Way." But this would be part two. You know, I'm trying to wait and let people get a chance to get on here because I don't want to just be on here talking to myself. So I'll see. I'll play a little music. Then I don't know what happened. I got kicked out. That was crazy. All right. Somebody was watching. All right. Hoping that people are interested in this subject matter. Maybe just turn the music down just a little bit. That people are interested in this subject matter because I think it's vitally important to understand. Maybe this is what I want to say, and if don't nobody even come on here, I want to put this out there so people can understand what it is that we're trying to do with this teaching. We're trying to make people, maybe I should say it like this: we're trying to help people to learn how to think when it comes to this life that we're living. You know, we are taught history, but we don't we don't understand, or we're not learning how to read between the lines or see behind the scenes to be able to uh, get a clear understanding as to what's really going on. You know, it was stated. We said Sunday about how the Civil War, uh, and by the South losing the Civil War, that it it abolished slavery, and they were against slavery being abolished. Now, just that in itself, you have the North states and the Southern states. Now, the Southern states, as we said on Sunday, were those states that were living, breeding, and surviving off of the backs of black men and women and children through slavery. And so the whole Civil War in itself was a split in the Union. So you have to understand something. When they speak of the Union, they're talking about the union between the North and the South, how everybody was one United States, and how it's not that way now. Since the North won the Civil War, we are led to believe that everybody just kissed and made up, and that the union is back together again. That is so far from the truth. The union gives the appearance of togetherness, just like, and it's not together no more than it is in the House of Representatives when you have Republicans and Democrats going against each other. And it's not a coincidence that when you think about Republican states or Republicans, the color blue comes up, like the colors that the North wore in the Civil War. And when you think about the Republicans, red seems to come up. The color for Republicans are red. And let's not get away from this thought. Check this out. The symbol for the Republicans is an elephant. Now, what is the one thing that dealing with elephants that everybody remembers, other than the fact that they love peanuts? Elephants, this is what is said about elephants. They are known not to forget. They have great memories, elephants. They don't forget. So, if you have red states, Republicans, they lost the Civil War, they have issues with black people because they believe black people are supposed to be slaves. And these southern state, red state folks lost the right to have slaves now. And from that comes the Ku Klux Klan. And I'm gonna do a whole lecture on the Ku Klux Klan because that's really interesting, because it goes into masonry and everything. Look up Albert Pipes. Might just read something. Oh, Yolanda, good evening. Look like you might be the only one on here. I was just saying some things as a recap to what we were talking about on Sunday. But I'm glad you're on here, Miss Yolanda. So I guess I'll share with you what I was going to share with people today. But what I was saying was that it's not a coincidence. And I want you to keep in mind that the Northern, I'm speaking of the Civil War now, the North were considered the blue states, and the South they wore gray. I'll put it like this, that the Southerners. Now, as we move on in time, more closer to today, the blue states are the Democratic states, dealing with, again, the North, and the more southern states, which are Republican, are the red states. So I'm saying all this to say is that we were led to believe that after the North won the Civil War, that the Union got back together, the southern states and the northern states, they got back together and they kissed and made up and everything is okay. No. Proof positive of these Southerners have been pissed ever since the Civil War. They've been pissed off at this government. They've been pissed off at the fact that they allow black folks who they believe should be slaves, they are inferior to white people, and that they never should be part of the society, are now getting jobs. If you look back in history, you had a lot of black CEOs that were CEOs of black major corporations, Comcast and ComEd and other big companies had black people as CEO. Now, what do you think that these white folks are thinking? These white Southerners are thinking about blacks taking their jobs, because this is their mentality, that blacks, Jews, Hispanics, we're all being allowed to come in and take America and pushing these white so-called original Americans out. And they are fed up with it. They even stormed the Capitol, if you remember. And they didn't storm you see, they give you all of these explanations why they stormed the Capitol, but if you listen to what they are saying, they were saying things such as, we want our country back. What do you think they mean when they say we want our country back? They're saying that they want things to go back to the way that they were before Abraham Lincoln messed everything up and caused a civil war, and the Southerners lost, and then Abraham Lincoln instituted the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing the blacks from slavery and everything. And so white people have been pissed off. These white Southerners have been pissed off for that ever since then. So I was going to say earlier, somebody just typed something in the chat. Music. Oh yeah, I got that music playing in the background. I'll stop it. I had the music playing before anybody came on. Let me pause that. Thank you. Who's that, Brother Will? Yes, sir. Okay. All right. So I was saying that these people create because of fear. And I was saying this Sunday, and you have to really understand this, because they don't show you this, they ain't gonna tell you this, but they are terrified of retribution from black people. And so this is, again, why they are so gung-ho on arming themselves so that they can be prepared. They're out teaching their children and everything how to shoot and all this. What do you think they are preparing themselves for? What do you think they're getting ready for? Another civil war? No. A race war. This is what they're getting ready for. So look, I know people can say, well, look, that's your opinion. Okay, let's just say it's my opinion. But now let's look at what's going on in the world. Now, they want us to believe that there's this split in government dealing with Republicans and Democrats. You know, this might not be politically correct, but I heard that a donkey, an elephant, and a donkey is still a hunky. These are a bunch of white folks with blacks and Hispanics sprinkled around up in there. And believe it or not, just like in the police force, you have to go along to get along. What do I mean by that? That means black officers, they become more brutal. Not all, let me just clarify, not all, but there are many black police officers that have to prove themselves to their white counterparts. And so when they go on a call with their white partner or whatever, they have to beat their black brothers and sisters down more so than the white ones, just to prove that I'm not black, I'm blue. Well, the same thing goes for politicians. You know, you had some black folks that were in politics. Shirley Chisholm, you know, they used to stand up and let their voices be heard and things of that nature. But let's just really look at this. The more people that stand up for black people, and let their voices be heard, you see what happens to these people. Malcolm X assassinated. Martin Luther King assassinated. Even the Kennedys, because they went against the system. Because everything, see, you have to understand something. Everything is being run by big business. People with money, corporations are running this thing. They run the politics, they run the court system, they run everything. And if you go against the system in any way, then you are a target. Now, we got some people backstage here with me that's on the live feed. And if any of you guys have a comment or a statement or a question in anything, I can bring you on stage and you can ask your question. All you got to do is just put it in the chat that you want, that you have a question or a comment you want to be heard, and I can bring you on the stage so that everybody on the live stream can hear your question. You don't have to turn your camera on, but you just come on and state what you have to say, and then I'll respond to it or whatever. And if anybody that's on the live stream, if you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube, if you have a question or if you have a comment, feel free to put it in the comment sections, and I'll see it. If you type in your question or your comment in the comment section on Facebook or YouTube, it'll come up here on our live feed. I'll bring it on to the onto the screen, just like when Miss Yolanda came on. For those who don't know, that's my wife, Miss Yolanda. Give her a shout out. You know, I'll put it on the screen just like that. She said, "Good evening." You know, so if you make a comment, we'll see it and we can put it up there. Or if you have a questions or whatever, you know, and we can have a dialogue. That's what this is today. It's not just a teaching, but it's a dialogue. Because, I mean, if you disagree with what I'm saying, I don't have a problem with you disagreeing. Voice your disagreement and make me prove what I'm saying. And I'm also make you prove your disagreement. If you're disagreeing with me, I want you to prove to me why you disagree with what I'm saying. You can't just disagree just to disagree. You have to have something you're standing on, a point by which you're disagreeing with what I'm saying. Okay? So, again, this is part 2 to gun violence, the American way. And I'm saying the American way because this is the way of America. And like, and I don't know if you all heard me last week. I was saying that I'm in YouTube jail because of a lecture I gave last month called leprosy. And that disease, I mean, that teaching that I gave last month, I was accused of teaching false medical and health situation information, giving false information about medical and health situations, which I did not. You know, I could have disputed it, but I don't have time to fight these white folks. You know, about, and believe it or not, they probably ain't even white people. They got some black person on there to do it. So when you go to fight it, you're fighting against your own people. This is how they do. You know, this is what they hire black folks to be a buffer. You know, so that when you go to complain and resist against the false treatment that they're doing to you, then there's a black person there defending them, that you have to fight against that black person in order to get your point across or to be heard or whatever. You know, that's how it's set up now. You know, and black folks, because we need money, because we need to pay bills and we want have a good life for ourselves and our families. We submit and we give in to a lot of things that we shouldn't in order for us to pay bills. You know, that's the way it is. Earth, Wind, and Fire said, that's the way of the world. You know, that's it. You know, And if that's the way of the world, do we really have any hope? What's the point of even being on this live stream, having this kind of dialogue or having this kind of conversation, if afterwards all we're gonna do is go back to the way of the world, and that's just it? Nothing changes, nobody changes. It's just like a good song. Y'all hear what I'm saying, and it makes you feel good, or maybe it makes you upset or whatever. Then after it's over, the next song you hear, you forget about the last song you heard. It's just like on the radio. You hear a song, you singing it, you humming it. You get out. You got a song that you playing in your house while you're getting ready to go to work. You leave out and you get in the car. You humming it, you singing it until you turn the radio on, until the next song come on. Now you singing that one. You don't forget about the other song. We have to really understand, beloved, that our need and our desire to fit in has made us, as a people, Black people, to have the mentality of go along and get along. Whatever you got to do, during COVID, there were a lot of people that were forced, and I literally mean forced, threatened to take the COVID vaccine, or you would lose your job. And then after that rush of people that they were making to get the COVID vaccine, maybe a few months later, then they want to say, well, that's not right to force people to get a vaccine if they don't want to. So if you don't want to get it, it's okay. But people done got it now. If they didn't want to get it, it's too late, right? But look, you have to understand that what we are dealing with here, it's I call it the 25-year plan. These people have a plan in place, and they've been planning this thing for 25 years. 25 years. And all we do is play our part. Whatever part they tell us to play, we play it because we're at their beck and call. We don't have any control over anything that's going on here. All we can do is play our part, get paid, and pay our bills. And we're barely doing that. So at the end of the lecture Sunday, I mentioned something, and I really want to go into that here. And you probably have some questions. You all probably have some questions about that. The United States Space Force. United States Space Force. Now, when Trump was president and he initiated this, created a new branch of the United States military. We've never had a new branch of the United States military. It's always been the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. I think that's it. Is it another one? Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. That's it. And anything else is a branch of one of them. Now, Air Force deals with the air, right? The pilots that fly around and shoot bombs out of the planes and things like that. That's the Air Force, right? Everything dealing with the air. So now you already have the Air Force. Now, there was no Space Force when rockets were being shot to the moon. That was still a part of the Air Force. So don't tell me now that all of a sudden that if you want to go out in space and deal with, they put satellites out in space, right? There was no Space Force. There was no Space Force created. But all of a sudden now, they want us to believe, because when Trump initiated this, there were videos that were out that were explaining what this Air Force or the Space Force was. Those videos have been taken off. They got this new stuff out. They call them guardians. Not guardians now. What the hell are we guardians of? And you know what they want us to believe that they're out in space guarding, being the guardians of? You would never guess. Satellites. Now, who's out in space messing with satellites? They want you to believe, they want us to believe that Russia and China and other countries are out there in space messing with the United States satellites to affect our economy in some way or another by tampering with satellites. They want us to believe that's what the United States Space Force was created for, and that's what it's all about. Malarkey, bullcrap, dung. That is not what this is all about. Anybody want to give their opinion as to what they think it's about? Because I'm going to tell you what I think it is. Maybe I'll tell you what I think it is, and then you all can tell me I'm crazy or not. Or maybe you could say, well, that's your opinion. You know, we like doing that. Well, that's just your opinion. You know, that don't mean anything. You know, I remember when it was our opinion, excuse me. I remember when it's our opinion that we were talking about a great catastrophe. This is back in around 2015. I think it was around 2015, 2016. We were talking about we called it a storm, that there was a storm that was coming on the planet. We didn't know what it was, but we were teaching that we needed to, I know Minister Rahim, he was constantly saying, circle the wagon train. That was one of the things that he was constantly preaching, you know, and we were saying that we needed to get together, you know, because this thing that's coming was devastating. Little did we know, we didn't know what it was, but because of the spiritual nature that God gives us as ministers, we were feeling something. And I feel something else coming, but that's a whole nother story. But what we were talking about in 2016 that was coming was COVID when it hit us in 2020. It was our opinion then, you know, and even after COVID hit, it was just our opinion that COVID was an immune system disease. It attacked your immune system. If your immune system was high, if you kept your immune system built up, COVID had no effect on you. But nobody wanted it. It was just our opinion then, right? There were some people that listened to us, you know, and that's when what were those things? I know ginger shots became real popular. People was taking ginger shots, excuse me, and taking multiple vitamins, liquid vitamins, minerals, to boost the immune system. We were saying in Toma, we were saying that there's a product, and I've been taking it ever since. It's called NutriBurst. NutriBurst is a liquid vitamins, and it gets into your system quicker. So that's why we take NutriBurst, which is, again, liquid vitamins, and you get 100% absorption, in contrast to taking pills, pill vitamins, and the absorption rate is diminished greatly when you take pills. You don't get all of the vitamin and the nutrients from the pills as much as you do when you take liquid vitamins and liquid minerals. It gets into your system a lot quicker and the absorption rate is higher. And so we were saying that you should take NutriBurst and what was that other stuff Yolanda, you remember? Type it in the chat. It was in a little jar and it was kind of gummy. People were putting it in a tea. I know Minister Yashua was selling it a lot, and people were saying that you need to take that. You know, that helps you combat COVID as well. You know, and so all of these things were out there, and ever since COVID, did you put it in there? Let's see. CMOS, yes, exactly. Thank you, Will. You know, CMOS, NutriBurst, and there was another product that we take. These three products, if you take on a regular, will help you fight this thing called COVID. It'll keep your immune system high. You know, I was just at a memorial today, and 50% of the people there were wearing masks. You know, and you know, I understand because you know they say it's a new strain of COVID out, right? I don't care if it's a new strain out. I don't care if they got 50 new strains out. As long as I keep my immune system boosted up, I don't have any problems with any strain they got out, whether it's airborne or whatever. You know, ever since I got sick in 2020 when COVID first hit, I got sick and went into the hospital. I had COVID, right? Ever since then, when I got out of the hospital and I recovered from COVID, I have not been sick a day in my life since, now this is 2023. I have not been sick with the regimen of NutriBurst, Noni juice, and CMOS. And let me add also ginger shots. With that daily combination, I haven't been sick not one day. I may wake up with sniffles and things, and then they have to blow my nose, whatever. But as far as sick, I mean coughing, fever, all that kind of stuff, not one day. So what is that saying? Is that just our opinion too? Huh? But you got at some point, somebody got to prove that we are wrong. And how do you prove a person wrong? You do what they say, and then if it don't work, then you could come back and say, hey, I did what you said. That crap don't work. But just to turn around and say, well, no, that's just your opinion. And you dying? You sick as hell? Something wrong with that kind of thinking, that mentality. Something is wrong with that. And so we're trying to help our people learn how to think properly, learn how to read between the lines, learn how to see what's really being told. Now, if you want to really understand where I'm coming from when I say that, there's a movie that was produced way back in the 80s. I think it was in the 80s. It's a movie called They Live. They Live. It's Ronnie Piper is one of the main. Was a wrestler. He's one of the main actors in this movie. Watch that movie, and you'll understand what I mean. That there are things behind what you see that you don't really understand. But if you read things properly, and maybe I should say it like this. If you are taught and you have the understanding of how to read and see things properly, then you will get the message behind it. That's really the message that's there. In contrast to just seeing a billboard advertising Coke or whatever, and not really getting the real message. That's the reason why that billboard is there. I know people say conspiracy theory, people say paranoid, all this crap, but only time will tell. I'm telling you. You can talk all you want to about the Temple of Mercy, Toma Nation. And we got a lot of folks that are afraid to associate with us because we're too black, they say. But I'm getting off of the subject matter. So let me get back to gun violence and the American way. Again, ever since the Civil War, white folks have been trying to get the United States back to where it was before Lincoln messed it up. They formed the Ku Klux Klan in order, again, out of fear. They formed this. It was almost like a fraternity, like a Masonic fraternity of white people, white men, I should say, that were going around on the offense because they were terrified that black people were going to attack them in a form of retribution for slavery. And so instead of, because of how they say what is the term? They say something dealing with death. The anticipation of death is worse than death itself. I think that's how it goes, something like that. And what they're saying here is that when you anticipating, like when we were young, I know maybe some of y'all haven't experienced this. If your moms say or catch you doing something wrong and saying, I'm gonna give you a whooping as soon as I get home, I got to go do such and such and such and such. But when I get back, when I come in this house, I'm tearing your butt up, right? Now she leave out and she gone for 2-3 hours. The anticipation of that butt whooping for them 2-3 hours is worse than the butt whooping. This is what I'm saying, dealing with anticipation of death is worse than death itself. And this is what white people were experiencing. They were waiting for black folks to one night show up in their house, in their bedrooms with axes and machetes and just hack them up. And they were looking for that. And so that anticipation was just killing white people. So they had to go on offense. And when they went on offense, the Ku Klux Klan was born. And so they went out and they started killing, lynching, burning, tar and feathering black people, black men, black women. Now, this all led up to Trump's. Now, understand this. When Trump ran for president, it exposed these white folks, these white folks that you never heard of. They came out and voted for Trump. If you remember, it was white Southern, they call them rednecks, down south. You never heard nothing about them, nothing. All of a sudden, they came out of nowhere. As soon as Trump started, what was his slogan? Let's make America great again. What do you think he meant by that? How is he going to make America great again? Well, according to these Southern white folks, for America to be great again, black people have to go back to being slaves. Now, we don't think that that's going to happen. Somebody put a comment in here. Let's see what this is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, my brother. Glad to see you on here, man. We don't believe that something like that's ever going to happen again. What you say? Let me see. Yes, sir. I'm trying to. I am trying to. What's going on, Kiki? We don't believe this can happen to us. You know, this is the 21st century. This is 2023. How in the hell are we going to be slaves again? You think we free? How they say it back in the day? You think we's free? Are you free to do what you want to do? Can you pay your bills when you want to? or does some white man somewhere on your job, it ain't even white no more. They've what do they call it? They sublet they niggas to Arabs now. You know, where they in the community, it used to be Jews. They sublet it to Jews. Now it's Arabs in the community. You know, and they the ones that feed you, clothe you. This is still slavery, where somebody decides what you eat. And I know you think you got freedom. I've always taught this, and I don't think people have caught on to it. But how can you say you have freedom of choice if only things you have the choice of, if only things you have to choose from is limited? Let me give you an example. Let me see some stuff I got in here. I'm just gonna grab some things here. Here's a coaster. Oh, you can't see it because it's, there you go. It's a coaster, bottled water, and cell phone, right? Oh, wait a minute, can you see it? Oh, it's disappearing. Anyway, y'all know what I mean. Cell phone, coaster. Now, I say you have the freedom to get any one of these that you want, right? That's freedom. No, that's not freedom, because I limited your freedom. I only gave you 3 choices. You see, just like when you go to a car dealership, you think you have the freedom to get any car you want as long as you got the money to pay for it. Well, they'll price that. Well, maybe I should say it like this: they limit your possibilities by putting the price out of your range of affordability. You know, and so do you really have freedom if they're saying that, well, the only cars you can really afford is this one, and that one, and that one? Those are the only ones that fall into the price range of what you can afford. So are you free? Or are you limited because of money that you don't have, because our open ending only allows you to make a certain amount in order to make it from one paycheck to the next paycheck? And in order for you to be able to surpass that, the only thing they leave open to you is illegal activity. You know, check scamming and credit card fraud and what they call them, welfare queens, you know, scamming the welfare system, you know. And so we find ourselves becoming criminals just in order for us to be able to do what normal white folks and everybody else seems to have the ability to do, to be able to buy what you want to buy when you want to buy it. We got to be criminals in order to afford that, or we have to go along to get along. That's the mentality, the go along and get along mentality. That if I'm going to make 6 figures, I don't care. You can be the most intelligent person on the planet. You can get good grades, all that good stuff. There are a lot of people that went to college, graduated with degrees, and they working at a car wash. They working in a restaurant downtown somewhere as a waiter with a college degree. Why? Because even though you got the degree, there's still now another white man that has to say, I recognize your degree, and I'm going to give you 6 figures to work on this job. And then let's keep this in mind. You still are what do I want to call it? You're enhancing the financial situation or portfolio of white people. See, even if they pay you 6 figures, what you do for them makes them twice what they pay you, 3 times what they pay you. You are never on equal footing with them. Never. I don't care how much money you make. Ask Jay-Z. He finally understands it. He had a song out, Still Nigga. It don't matter how many doggone millions and billions you got. To them, you are still a nigga. I might get shut down because I guess I said the N-word, right? That goes against Facebook policy. Yeah, but you got black folks. I see all kind of videos all on Facebook of people cussing and doing all kind of crazy stuff, guns, and they don't get shut down. They on there every day. But if I say still nigga in reference to a song that Jay-Z wrote, y'all want to shut me down. Y'all want to put me in jail. And y'all don't think something is wrong with that. We see that. Y'all, I ain't the only one that see this. Y'all see what I'm talking about every day, and y'all ain't saying nothing. Because you're going along to get along. That's what we've become. That's what we have succumbed to now. We go along to get along. Well, what's the point, Brother Minister? What's the point in doing that? Ain't nobody gonna listen to me. Look, the 60s was a movement based on people, black people, the civil rights movement I'm speaking of now, was black people that were sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they decided to do something about it. They didn't care about getting dogs being sick on them. They didn't care about water holes. They didn't care about getting beat by billy clubs. They were going to see this all the way to the end based on they were tired and they would rather die in the struggle than to live the way they were living. But now we, in the 21st century, 2023, we are so smart now. We are so intelligent now, to whereas we've learned to go along and get along, and we've deceived ourselves. It's called deceptive intelligence. We've deceived ourselves that we're doing this for the greater good. We're doing this for our families. No, you're not doing this for your family, because when you're dead, your family members, my son, my daughter, and my cousins, everybody that's younger than me are going to suffer the same thing I'm suffering. You're not doing this. We're not doing this for them. Stop lying. Let's just stop. We're not doing this for them. We're doing this because we are afraid to do something. Now, about, what was it? Maybe about a year ago, we gave a lecture on death. We taught about what death was. Y'all need to go back and look for that lecture that we gave on death. You have to understand what death is. I'm not going to go into it today because that's not what this is about. Now, but if you have a question on it, I will answer your question about it. But that's not what this lecture is about. But you need to understand what death is so you can stop being afraid. I'm gonna just share this one little part with you so that maybe it'll ignite you to go look for this lecture on death. There's no such thing as death. You and I never die. There's no such thing as death for you and me. Now, I'm going to just stop it right there. Now, you want me to explain why? And you know what? And what I'm doing, let me share this with you too, because this is something that we've lost as a people too. There used to be a curiosity. Black folks, we used to have, you used to have to hear the phrase all the time, curiosity killed the cat. Why? Because we were always asking questions. Well, why? You need to go in there and do your homework. Why? Why do I have to do my homework? We were always so curious. Now we don't give a damn. It's like somebody say, the sky is purple, and in a week, everything is gonna turn red. And we just be like, we don't say nothing like, oh wow, why do you say that? What proof do you have that the sky is purple and in a week is gonna turn red? Where do you get that from? We don't care. But in a week, if the sky turns red and everything falls down, I mean the sky falls and your house smashed in, now you wonder like, damn, dude knew what he was talking about. You see, but it's crazy, y'all. This thing, the American way, gun violence ain't the only thing. There's a lot of things that's the American way. Freakism, homosexuality. Oh, I'm really getting into I got to be careful now, because this identity stuff, what people identify with, that's very, very touchy subject, dealing with identity, but God was the original individual, or the original, I like that, Brian, the original individual that gave identity. He said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion. He's speaking of male and female. He called them man. One man, man. He gave the identity. Now, who the hell is you to turn around and say, when you don't have any control over who you are, you don't have no control over it because you didn't create you. Who the hell are you to determine you are? This is like me. If I create, let's say, for argument's sake, let's say I create a robot to help me around the house to clean up, right? And I say, robot, your job is to clean. I created you to clean. Go clean. Then the robot come to me one day and say, I don't identify as a cleaner. I'm more than that. I want to be a financial agent, a financial person that's going to handle finances. How in the hell are you going to tell me what you are? I created you. Now, let's even, something else just came to me. I'm a father. Me and my wife, we created a son, right? We created him. Now, when he was growing up, does he have the right to tell me and his mother who and what he is? Some of you have allowed that. The creator, God, is the only one that has the authority to authorize what you are because he created you. He used me and his mother as agents. We came together and we put the right chemicals together to create him. He does not have the right to tell me what he is and what he ain't. If when he was born, he came out with a penis, he was a male. If he was born and he had a vagina, she was a girl, female. Don't tell me well, again, this is not my lecture, so I let me get off my soapbox. But we put up with too much crap. The scripture says, resist Satan and he will flee from you. We ain't doing a whole lot of resistance. Matter of fact, we ain't doing no resistance. There is no resistance at all. We just go right along. Now we talk about it. You know, we go on Facebook talking our butt off. On group chats, just talking. But ain't doing nothing. James Brown had a song, talking loud and saying nothing. Just talking. And ain't doing nothing. But we okay with that. We've accepted this lifestyle. And mind you, things are getting worse, brothers and sisters. It ain't getting better. What is that telling you? The more you accept and the more you give in, the worse it gets. At some point, somebody got to say, the buck stops here. The buck stops here. At some point, some people, there are a group of people going to have to do that. Now, because we talking about violence, right? Sunday, I was talking about victims. Victimizers and victims becoming the victimizer. Y'all remember that if you were here Sunday? I don't think y'all really understood where I was really coming from with that. Nobody asked me any questions on it. You know, let me paint a picture for you. Maybe you can see what I'm saying based on this story I'm just making this up, even though it's probably a real story at some point in somebody's life. A young boy growing up in the hood started taking piano lessons from a person. He had to go all the way to the north side to get these piano lessons. And it's a very reputable guy that's doing the teaching, very talented. And he was given discounts, on his piano lessons. And so his mother took him up north every week for his piano lessons. And after about 6 months, the mother started seeing, when she made up the boy's bed in the morning, she started seeing blood on the sheets. She didn't think nothing of it. She thought maybe he had a nosebleed or whatever. He cut himself or something. She didn't think anything of it. But every day she started seeing blood in the sheets, right? And at some point, it came out that the piano teacher was molesting the boy during the piano lessons and sodomizing him. So the mother called the police, take him to the hospital, this and that and another. They bring the guy up on charges. But because the guy, he had some very powerful friends that sat on the bench, and his college buddy was the district attorney, that for some reason that case just didn't have any teeth to it. And the mother was told that there wasn't enough evidence to convict the guy. Even though she in her heart knew that this guy was guilty of sodomizing and molesting her son. Now, years later, this young boy He's a music teacher now. And even though it was unknown to the mother that that music teacher wasn't the only one that was molesting this young boy. He was being molested by a teacher at school. He was being molested by a guy in the neighborhood. He was being picked on at school because he was a young, frail guy. He was a humble guy, very shy. And so people were picking, the bullies were picking on him. And as he grew up, he graduated from out of high school, he applied for the military. And in the military, he was hazed and was sodomized by some bullies in the military. When he got out of the military and came back home, he applied to become a police officer. Because of his military background, he didn't have any problems becoming a police officer. Then as a police officer, he discovered he had the power and the authority to become the bully. And so he was pulling over prostitutes and putting them in the back seat, sodomizing them. My point here is that that's just the story. But how many times does that story come true in the lives of young Black men and young Black women in America? It might not be that exact story, but the point I'm making here is abuse. When people abuse us and misuse us and do us wrong, it don't have to be sodomizing. It could be domestic violence. It could be, like I was saying before, in school, a person being bullied, a young lady being teased and bullied because she's overweight, a person because they wear glasses, 4 eyes, a person because their head is bigger than their body, they call them waterhead, you know, and everybody want to talk about them and tease him and abuse him and misuse him. And at some point, he gets in the position to where he has some form of power and authority, and now he becomes the abuser, or she becomes the abuser. Now, what about a person that maybe don't even find themselves in the position where they can become the abuser, of power, like a police officer or a political office or something of that nature? What gives you power? The gun. Wait a minute. Oh no, all these comments, I didn't even see these. Hold on, let me see. What is that? What you saying, brother? Say, because of children trauma. Yeah, I know it happens a lot. But see, this is happening to us, but we're not doing anything. We're not recognizing it. It's not light. The light is not being shined on it. I'm saying that this is R. Kelly. This is his problem. See, it's a sickness when it's white people. It's a crime when it's Black. R. Kelly was molested by his sister for years when he was young. And so the victim now becomes the victimizer when he got older and he got power. He's the king of R&B. He has power and authority. Half the time, these people were throwing it at him. Mothers were selling their daughters to, ain't nobody saying nothing about that. Selling their children to R. Kelly so they could be a star. Nobody put them on trial. They just wanted to bring R. Kelly down. And quiet as it kept. Let me tell you why they wanted to get rid of R. Kelly. Because he wouldn't change his image. He wasn't going to change his big old nose and slim it down like Michael Jackson did. He wasn't going to trim up his lips. to be like white people lips. And why do you have to do that to be successful in this man's world? Because they don't want their kids idolizing a black image. Man, I wish somebody said something. Who's this? Yeah, I know I'm telling the truth. They don't want you idolizing them big lips and that big nose. So you want to be successful in this man's world? Well, Elvis Presley was a white man. And see, now understand this. Elvis Presley stole black people's style. He stole what was his name? Not Little Richard. What's the other guy name? Y'all help me. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Elvis Presley stole that black man's style, and because he was a white man, he was able to put it out there because they ain't gonna put black folks out there. Yeah, right. That's who I'm talking about. No, what was his name? Y'all do the research. Oh, somebody told me. Hold on. Chuck Berry, yes, sir. He stole Chuck Berry's style. And he put it out there much further than Chuck Berry could have put it, because white folks ain't promoting black entertainers back then like that. They're gonna always promote the white ones. This is again why whenever you have a black superhero, they always got to create a white one to go up against them. You see? And so they don't want their kids idolizing that black image, so they make you change your image. R. Kelly wouldn't change his image. OJ, let me explain something to you. See, if you all watch, if you all pay attention to what are you saying? Back then R&B was called race music. Yes, it was race music, meaning black music. And the key in it is rhythm and blues. Rhythm. White folks didn't have rhythm. They still don't have rhythm. They look like they got rhythm now, don't they? When they dance, don't it look like they got rhythm? You know why? Because everybody in the world now have been flipped with this electronic beat system, and we dance to their rhythm now. So it looks like white folks can dance, but they can't. But I'm saying this, what I'm saying here is that if you don't change your image and you desire to be the king of R&B, now the king of pop, he changed his, and you see how far it took him? The greatest entertainer to ever live, according to white people. Right? I mean, according to us too. Michael Jackson's the man. But would he have really been the man if he didn't change his looks? So that when white folks was falling all out, oh, Michael, it was a white man they was looking at. A white woman. Him and Janet was looking the same at some point, at a certain point. They looked the same. So they were beginning to prepare people for this transgender crap. They was preparing people for that. Again, it's not my lecture, but I'm trying to get you to understand and see. Open your eyes and see what's really going on. Michael Jackson turned around and finally had to come out and say, all I want to say is that they don't really care about us. And they went crazy. White folks, they went after him then. They started saying he was a child molester. They started to say all kinds of stuff about him. Took him to court, everything. But you know, this is what I wanted to say before. I remember when I mentioned OJ. When OJ got off for killing that woman, and I think he killed that woman, and her the boyfriend of the boy. And if he didn't do it, he had something. He was there. I'll put it like that. But what got OJ off was the fact that he was rich. See, this is what white folks have been doing for years. And see, and OJ was right there with the white people, just like Bill Cosby. You see what I'm saying? When white folks let black people in, you know, you safe because they got something on you. Now, what they had on, boy, names be just slipping me. What they had on OJ was the fact that his wife was a white woman. And so when OJ died, all of his riches go back into the white pot. You see? So it's okay. OJ could be the greatest football player that ever lived. They was memorabilia, all this, make billions of dollars. You see? And still to this day, even though when he got off, he still didn't learn his lesson. He still got a white girl. So that means all his money now go to the white folks when he cancel out. And that's what all of you black folks are doing when you get with white people. I don't want to hear that crap about you can't tell the heart what the heart wants, what the heart wants, and all that old crap. Don't tell me that crap. You are giving away black wealth. And so when OJ got off, because he had all that money, and Michael Jackson got off, I don't believe he was guilty of what they said he was doing, but he might have been. I don't know. But my point is, he had so much money that they couldn't convict him. Because the system, well, no, let me say it right. Because the people that run this system is corrupt. All of them are corrupt from the top down, president all the way down, corrupt. Even Obama, when he got in office, when he ran for the presidency, he wasn't like that. He wasn't corrupt. But the office makes you corrupt because if you don't go along with the plan that they have planned out for you and your presidency, you wind up dead somewhere. You wake up with a needle in your arm and they say, oh, he was secretly a drug addict. We didn't know. You know, like Harold Washington. They gave him some coffee to kill him. Which I don't know what was in it. And then they pay off the doggone coroner so that you don't get the truth about what killed the person. So with all this corruption, what help do we have? We go to church, we say it's God. To God be the glory. God, how they say it? Look up to the hills to whence my help cometh. God is the only source of help that we have. The God we believe in is a spook God. You don't see him. You can't see him. Oh boy, I'm finna say something to you guys now that y'all ain't gonna. It goes against all the brainwashing that you've ever been taught. Everything you've ever been taught, you've been brainwashed to think a certain way. You've been brainwashed to believe a certain way. And what we're about to share with you now today is going to blow up all of that crap. And I'm gonna try to do it very slowly because you can have a mental stroke with too much truth. You get too much information, what's really going on at one time, you can stroke out because it's just too much. So I'm gonna give you a little bit. In 1999, there was a problem, or there was a situation that occurred where the government did not believe that the computer system was going to be able to switch over from 1999 to 2000. Y'all remember that? They called it Y2K, if you remember. If you don't remember, Google it. They'll tell you about Y2K. Now, Y2K was never, now let me say this part, because people were scared to death when folks was telling them that the computer, because now the banking system, all this governmental system, the social security system, every system on the planet is hooked up to a computer. And so if the computer could not transition from the 1900s to the 2000s, which I don't see the problem with it. Have you ever had a computer that couldn't do it? The date changed. 2024, 2025, 2026 changes, right? But this is what they tell us, that the computer system wasn't going to be able to switch over. So they were predicting a crash in the stock market, that everything was going to crash. The banking system was going to crash. Everything was going to crash. People were panicking. They were running, getting water. They were boarding up their houses, and people were breaking in supermarkets, stealing, pillaging, and all kind of crap was going on because people were terrified. See, this is their greatest weapon, fear. This is the greatest weapon that they have, and they use it constantly. They had the entire United States citizens fearful of what was going to happen when midnight struck on New Year's Eve. Prince made millions of dollars off his song, 1999. You see, he got filthy rich because that song was the song, that people were singing and everything, dealing with New Year's, because they didn't know what was going to happen once that clock struck midnight and everything flipped over from 1999 to 2000. Come to find out, when the clock struck midnight, nothing changed. The banks didn't crash. The stock market didn't crash. Nothing crashed. They said everything was going to crash, but nothing crashed, right? And we sighed a sigh of relief. And we just went on about our day. We didn't question. It's almost just like this. When a woman says a man abused her, and then it's investigated, they come to find out the man didn't do nothing to her. They let the man go, but they don't prosecute the woman for lying. Why is that? Do you think it's because they want the woman, whether it's true or not, to accuse the black man of anything so that they can throw him in jail? And if you get a detective that really does their job and discover that the woman was really lying, they do their job and discover that she had lied, then that woman should be prosecuted for what they call it, a false statement or something to that effect, right? But that never happens. So what does that do? It gives women the power, just with a word, to put a man in jail without any repercussions. If you find out that she was lying, oh well, they found me out. He got off. You lucky, nigga. That's all that happens. It's the same thing in the world. The same exact thing. People, only way you get away with stuff is because they want you to get away with it. And they benefit from you getting away with it. Now, I was getting to the solution because we were talking about The only solution we got is God, right? I was mentioning 1999 because it was going into 2000, and they came out with this thing they called it Y2K, and they were saying that the computers couldn't switch over, all that, right? That was a lie. Just like the information they're giving you about the Space Force now, it's a lie. But there's a message in what they're saying. See, when they say Y2K, they were sending a message to all of their white people that are a part of, I don't want to say Illuminati because this is way past the Illuminati. Well, I'll just say those that have an ear, but those that could see, white folks that understand how to read between the lines. They were saying that why are there two craft in space hovering Earth's atmosphere? Now, why would they ask that question? Because there has always been a spaceship outside of Earth's atmosphere just sitting there as the guardian of black people on planet Earth. If this white man gets too out of hand and try to annihilate black folks, they will come down here and it's going to be a problem. Now, that's just my opinion. I'm just making this up. So don't believe me. You rather believe in the spook god. Don't believe me. There's a spaceship. There was a spaceship out there, and they were okay with just that one. It wasn't causing no problem. It was just sitting there. No contact, no nothing. It was out there for years. But in 1999, another one showed up. God, what is this? God, gold, all the diamonds. Yep, that is so true. What is this? Please inbox me information about that. Oh, most definitely, sir. Y2K. What did I just do? Oh, there we go. There are two crafts out there. So this was 2000, the year 2000, right? So now the computers thing switches over, everything, people go back to normal. Those two crafts were in the outside of Earth's atmosphere. Nobody had a problem. At first they thought there was going to be some kind of attack. This is why they had everybody on edge, and they lied and said it was a computer thing. But they thought that the Earth was under attack. You see, and so, well, they thought the Earth was going to be under attack, and so they put this false information out about Y2K so that people would be kind of in a, what would I call it, anticipative mood of something bad happening. They thought something was fitting to happen, so they was trying to prepare people for it. It didn't happen. It passed, right? Here we come, 2023. No, not even 2023. When Trump became president, I forget what year that was, but when Trump became president, something else happened out in space. It wasn't just two ships out there now. There's a fleet of them. Because, and let me explain to you why all these other ships are coming. And it's based on how black people are being treated by white folks on this planet. And the more they do us wrong and how they treat us, these ships keep appearing. So now Trump, when he was informed about this by the Air Force, because there was no Space Force, right? When he was informed of this, he began to formulate, and I believe they already had this in motion before Trump became president, because those ships had been out there for years, since 2000, right? So they probably have been in the works of creating this Space Force. But when Trump got into office, he initiated it. And so they give you the story why they're, just like with Y2K, they tell you that they're out there created this Space Force so they can protect satellites. It ain't about satellites. They are expecting to be attacked. Guardians. They call themselves guardians. They want, what are they guarding? They want to guard themselves, the planet Earth, from an invasion, the anticipated invasion from these ships out in Earth's atmosphere. Now, I'm gonna say this last thing, and I'll open up for questions if you have any. But if not, I'm gonna end it, because I know usually the first 30 minutes of our Wednesday's class, we usually, the members of TOMA, we have a financial report that's done, and we're definitely not going to do that online here while we're live streaming, so we're going to do it afterwards. So the last 30 minutes, we'll be doing that, and that's an in-house thing. So I'm going to close out after I say this. Everybody talks about going to heaven. I want to ask you this question. What if heaven is the name of one of them ships out there? And what if in that ship is many mansions, many rooms? Y'all seen Star Trek? If you're a Trekkie, where you think they're getting all this stuff from? So when you die, and see, this is initially when we was talking about you never die, because the real you and I is not this flesh and blood. This is the car we get around in. If you saw Independence Day, you remember when Will Smith got the alien and drug him by his dreadlocks? They really use symbolism a lot. How he drugged, and how it was a black man too. I told you, they make us do us worse than the white man has ever done us. We do ourselves worse than them now. But he drugged this alien by his dreadlocks into this United States center or base or whatever in the desert. And when they cut the alien open, there was a little bitty one on the inside. It opened up and there was a little bitty alien on the inside that was like controlling the big alien. I'm saying that there's no such thing as an alien. The pictures that they give you of so-called aliens is false. There is no bubble-eyed green little monsters running around in, well, I don't know, they might be some out there in space, but the ones that have come to this planet and the ones that are on the ships out in Earth's atmosphere right now, they are not little green men. They are not tall, grayish looking creatures. They are human beings just like you and I. As a matter of fact, let me be even more clear. Black. Marcus Garvey is on the ship. Noble Drew Ali is on the ship. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all of our fallen soldiers and warriors, Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner, they are all there. Elijah Muhammad, all of our fallen soldiers, your grandmama, my mother, my father, your father, if they are deceased, they are on the ship. this white man is so afraid. He knows who they are. You don't know. He knows who they are, and he knows why they're there. Because of you. And me, of course. So now, I'm not saying that now you go around and start talking about aliens and ships and out in the atmosphere. I'm saying with this understanding, pay attention to what they promote to you. Pay attention to what they say to you now. With this understanding in mind, when you watch the news now, watch the order by which they give you the news stories, because they're saying something based on that order. What kind of programming are they? Do you know that's what they call that, right? They call those news broadcasts programming. What kind of programming are they giving you when they give you a story about a person being home invaded, and then right after that, they give you a story about a black man, domestic violence case. Then maybe after that, they give you about a black woman that drowned her kids in the bathtub or something to that effect. I'm making all this stuff up, but I'm saying when they do that, they put it in a certain order to create fear for you. They want to direct your fear. They want you to be afraid of young people. They want you to be afraid of your children. They are creating the fear for you. And then you go about acting like it when you see one of your own young people, you grab your purse, you cross the street, you look at them like the boogeyman. They did that to you through the programming in the news. They programmed you to be afraid of your own children. And then you wonder why the children don't respect you. Because you fear them. And you've been programmed to fear them. And I want you young folks, if you are hearing this, understand that this is an illness. We are sick. We have been programmed to think like this and act like this. It's not our fault. We have to be deprogrammed. So that's my piece. Anybody have any questions, comments, suggestions? Feel free to put it in the chat real quick, because if not, I'm going to end this live. And I thank you all for listening. I guess nobody has any. Brother Cleo, not Cleo, Jesus. Brother Cleon, excuse me. I'll make sure, just like with the Space Force stuff, excuse me, I'll make sure I get you that information about Y2K so that you can have enough information to be able to make just decisions. Wait a minute, what you say? I need to know how to find, what is that? Find that spaceship? No, sir, you don't find the spaceship. Let me explain something to you real quick. Everybody don't qualify to find the spaceship. Because some of us on this planet, we have become more white than the white man. So if it comes down to it, some of these Negroes that are Oreo cookie Negroes are going to go just like the white folks. You see what I'm saying? So there is a qualifying factor that has to go into you being able to see them. Just knowing that they there don't mean anything. If you have sold your soul to the devil, then it don't matter. They ain't out there for you. If you understand what I'm saying. So you just got to keep that in mind. Only those that endured to the end. That's what the scripture says. If you give up before the end, then you probably won't ever see what I'm saying. So I thank you all for listening. I'm going to leave you as I greeted you in the ancient but yet holy words of peace in the languages of our fathers, of Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Habar Ghani, Alafia, and Ashe. I am Minister Omari, Jahi Aton. I'm the co-founder of this great movement. Thank you. Peace. We out of here.